Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Power Rangers Season 2, Episode 39 of my show, but this is about Episode 37 of Season 2. Now, before I get started talking about this episode, I just want to mention something. Since we're on Episode 37, that means counting this one, we got let's see, 38 and, 38 and 39, yeah, so two more, well, counting this one, yeah, because 37, wait a minute, not counting 37, so 38 and 39, yeah, so counting this one, it's two, because counting this one is two videos. Counting this video as well, we have, well, actually, after this video, I should just mention this beforehand. After this video, we have only one more video left before I get to the segment in Season 2 where it's a multi-part segment of episodes, starting with a two-part episode. But I'll explain about that later when I get to that point. I just wanted to mention that ahead of time, though. Anyway, this is History of Power Rangers Season 2. Episode 39 of my show, but about episode 37 of Season 2. And episode 37 in the original Power Rangers second season is known as Forever Friends. Now, basically, the way this episode starts off is Aiesha is telling Kimberly that a friend of hers from Stone Canyon is going to be competing in competition that's going to be held in Angel Grove and stuff. Now, and basically, that's when, and then that's when Kimberly finds out that she's also competing in that same competition, and that's when the friend shows up, whose name is Shawna. In this episode, she basically was trying to introduce herself, and then she said that looks like she and her will be competing in the same competition. And Shawna basically said that they'll be competing for much more than that. Now, what she means in this episode is, it's kind of a little bit of jealousy, sort of, because of the fact that Aiesha is in this for the rest of this season is an Angel Grove, so she's transferred over, so she's got new friends. So it's sort of, I know it's complicated for this episode. Anyway, continuing on with where I left off. Now I'm just going to mention what the male members of the Rangers are doing, because this is also going to play a small hand in one of the funny segments in the episode when Zedd summons the monster. Anyway, basically they're in this wood shop, making art projects out of wood, and basically, anyway, I just wanted to get that there because that's going to cause a bit of a funny thing when it comes to that, because of she tries to contact them on the communicator, but I'll explain about that later on when I get to the point. Anyway, basically what happens is, after that, Aiesha explains that maybe Kimberly and Shawna can get to know each other a little better, so she decides to take them out for a little picnic and stuff. And this is where Zedd's segment of the episode comes into it, because he sees that there's a little bit of animosity towards, well, well, not really, a little bit of jealousy towards that Aiesha's old friend. There's a little bit of jealousy towards Kimberly and stuff, and that plays a hand in his plan, or at least part of his plan to destroy the Rangers in this case. Now, what I mean by part of it, I'm going to explain about that later, but I just wanted to mention that anyway. Then Zedd looks down on the he looks at what the Rangers are doing on Earth with his visor that shoots that projection beam, and then basically what happens is he sees that 3 of the Rangers are occupied, so he thinks that this is a good chance for him to capture one of the Rangers. So he sends Gondar down to do so. And then basically what happens is after that, because in this segment of the episode, Kimberly and Aiesha and Shawna are on a picnic in the woods sort of thing. And this is the part of it where Zedd comes into it. Well, not really, but basically Kimberly first asks Shawna, well, she asked Aiesha when they first met, and then she said something about a meeting back in first grade or something, and then Anna said in friends kindergarten she'd been on so long that she's probably forgotten. But then basically Aiesha says that so she's off by a year, it doesn't change anything, which kind of is a little true. It doesn't, just because I'm just getting a little bit of, I'm getting off topic here, but I'm going to mention this. It doesn't really matter because of the fact that some people forget things that I'm no different. Sometimes I have memory lapses too. I'm sorry to bring any personal information into the video with this. I wanted to get that out of the way. Anyway, then basically what happens is Zedd basically looks down at where Kimberly, Aiesha, and Shawna are in the park, and he feels that this is a good opportunity, so he sends Gondar down to capture them. And then when Gondar shows up in the park, Shawna sees him, and then she freaks out because that was one of the creatures that she saw on the news. And basically, what happens is Gondar manages to capture Kimberly and Shawna in the process, and then basically after that, Aiesha tries to contact the male Rangers, like Rocky Adam and Billy and Tommy on her communicator, but she realizes, well, first what happens is after she tries to contact them, she doesn't get a response, and she figures the reason she doesn't get a response is because of the fact that they're still in the wood shop area. So, which kind of makes sense. If they're in an area that kind of makes a lot of noise, then it would be hard for any signal to get through, technically. I'm just getting another little bit of technical information about the episode out of the way there. And then basically what happens is after that, she then goes to, well, first what happens is after that segment, she goes to where the rest of the Rangers are. But first, what happens is it starts off with Kimberly and Shawna being trapped by Gondar in a cave, basically, and then they're wondering if they can get out, and then Shawna is basically asking Kimberly why she's still trying to be a friend to her after she was kind of mean of it. And then she's explaining that she knows sort of what that like, because she explains that her parents are split up, and that kind of hits Shawna hard because her parents are sort of also split up, as she explains in this episode. And apparently, I guess you could kind of, it's stated in this episode that she has a little bit of separation issues. The other female character with Kimberly does, because apparently, as she states in the episode, whenever a friend is leaving and such, she feels like she's losing them for good. And then Kimberly explains that she felt that way too. But then she tells Shawna that she learned something that just because someone leaves doesn't mean they're gone for good, kind of thing. And then it goes into the scene where Aiesha is in the shop classroom with the rest of the Rangers, and she explains to them what happened, that Gondar captured Kimberly and her best friend Shawna, and then they decide to teleport to the command center to figure out a tactical strategy on how to get both Kimberly and Shawna back. And then what happens is after they teleport to the command center, Zedd decides to keep the Rangers busy without having them try to interfere in getting the others back. And what he does is he creates a monster from one of the saws in the shop class, which ironically is called the Jaws of Destruction. Oh my god, I'm sorry. That's the reason why I'm sorry. I just had to get that out of the way because it's a tiny bit funny, because it's a monster that's made out of a saw, and saws, they cut things. Saws have jagged edges, like knives and stuff that can cut things, so essentially, I just thought I'd get that out of the way. And then, basically, then what happens is, Aiesha is in the command center with the other Rangers, and she's explaining to Zordon that she feels terrible about what happened. Like, she feels responsible because she couldn't save her two best friends and everything. But then Zordon explains to her that no one blames her for not doing anything, for trying to save her friends, but what's important now is to try to get them back. And then that's when the alarm in the command center goes off, and basically that's when the Rangers notice the Jaws of Destruction let loose on the Earth. And then, so they morph to deal with the Jaws of Destruction and also to rescue Kimberly and Shawna at the same time. And then basically what happens is it's sort of a separate battle plan sort of thing. Because what happens is four of the six Rangers, like 4 of the 5, which is basically Billy, Adam, Rocky, and Aiesha, stay to battle the putties and the Jaws of Destruction monster. While Tommy in the episode goes to rescue Kimberly and Shawna, who are still trapped in the cave at this point in the episode. And then basically what happens is after he shows up, Shawna is kind of ecstatic to see him and stuff like that, like the White Ranger, because he's one of the Rangers that heard of him, that she saw on the news and stuff. And then basically, the White Ranger, which is Tommy in this episode, he helps Kimberly and Shawna escape, and then basically he contacts Alpha on the communicator to tell Alpha to teleport Shawna a safe distance, but she explains that she doesn't want to leave without Kimberly, and then Kimberly assures Shawna that the White Ranger will get her out, which is true, because she... Anyway, it's just a little bit of a minor detail. Anyway, continuing on, after Shawna gets teleported away, basically what happens is, Kimberly then morphs to a Ranger form to help the rest of the Rangers deal with the Jaws of Destruction, and then they start fighting the Jaws of Destruction, and then after a little while, I can't remember, but I think one of the Rangers actually says to the Jaws of Destruction that he's not so tough. And then that's when Zedd overhears that part. He's like, So they think my Jaws of Destruction locks bite, do they? Well, I'll show them. And that's when he basically throws his potion down to make the Jaws of Destruction grow. And then the Rangers fight the monster in the Megazord, and then basically what happens is they manage to defeat it, and then Zedd gets upset that he lost again, and then basically what happens is after that, then what happens after that is basically, then it goes into a scene where the gymnastics competition is being held, and then Kimberly performs in it, and then basically she gets a total of the 9.8 for a final score, and then Shawna performs as well, and then after that the judges give her the exact same score as Kimberly, and then the announcer is saying that it's a tie, and then they both get the trophy, and then Aiesha is happy for both of them, and that's basically where this episode stops. So if you guys like this video when I post it, I will probably post this video. I'm not sure if I'll post it now, but I'll post it a little later. But when I do post it, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and I will see you guys probably tomorrow for the next video. So until then, guys, just please give this video the real best you guys can. And like I always, and I'll see you guys next time, and like I always tell you with this series, may the power protect you always.